Good morning. Allow your breath to bring you inside the sacred castle within. We will enter the wisdom tree and allow the taproot to go all the way down as it is revealed to us to the center, the one, the love. And with each breath, goes down further and further, and then also releases up through the great infinity, the infinite field of possibilities within the tree, and expands outward. And we literally can feel the energy going through the spiral within the rings of the tree, all the aspects. Today we're going to move upward, upward into the branches. And for today, we are going to again imagine yourself as this tree. And the rings of wisdom of all of your experiences as they circle within. And with the breath, they do expand outward beyond the tree. But again, today the focus is going to be as we breathe, how that breath expresses the rings outward above the tree or above the trunk, which creates the limbs. For a moment, visualize a tiny tree from a seed. That seed is the center, is the dot that you see in the middle of the rings of a tree. And as it's expressing upward and outward, it may create one branch. And the trunk is small in diameter in the beginning. As the tree grows and expands and evolves, the knowingness. Now imagine a great big tree, one where you can see it in the sunlight. Imagine in the sunlight in the winter time if it has leaves that fall. And the amount of branches, great and small, are almost too many to count. Now we want to point out it is not exactly in direct proportion to the rings, but the rings that desire to express itself into the outside world, to express and create and co-create with this deep wisdom, created a great big branch. And then as that branch expanded, it will create smaller branches off the big one, and it can continue and continues and continues. And there's another branch, and there's another branch. So if you can imagine a tree again with the big, thick branches, imagine the rings within, those darker rings that have deep experiences and understanding and wisdom. For now, there's many metaphors we will be using. For now, we'll see those as what you would call themes. We would call them vibrations, frequency, how it expresses. Because as you know, if you take a great big branch and you cut it open, what do you see? Do you see rings? Or do you see the center where the seed follows the taproot all the way down to the center of the earth? But going back to these great big branches of how you are this, how you express, how you grow, what you offer. We invite you to imagine again yourself as a tree and notice all those big, huge branches off your tree. And know there are smaller ones, and then smaller ones, and smaller ones. Again, the tree is an infinite field of possibilities that continues to grow, a branch off a branch off a branch. And it is not less significant, the tiny little branch off the branch off the branch off the branch, as the great big one. You may choose to sit on one of these branches of who you are, of your tree, and notice it and feel it. And honor all parts of the branches. There may be a tiny branch that only grew a couple inches long, and that's all it desires to do. But notice that it always, always has life. It always has a leaf that blooms off that tiny little branch. And that is because it always goes back to center. It is all connected in one. And that tiny little leaf of that tiny little branch matters just as much as the big branch. So for today, we're just going to stay here in the understanding of how these rings express upward and outward, and how it is not, the greater branch does not mean it's more powerful than the smaller branch. It just means the frequency it required created something larger from what we see with the naked eye. but all the branches grow leaves or needles. One is not more significant than the other. Its purpose is known. Your tree is your tree with all the different sizes of branches, all the different ways to express the wisdom of the rings, the spiral within. And we say that the rings and the amount of branches are not necessarily the same. In other words, if you open up a tree and you see 50 rings, you may not see 50 great branches. You will see more branches than rings. We're going to ask that you be with that for a moment as we think about the darker rings and the lighter rings and the growth in between, and how everything above has significance to everything within. So, no, it is not in direct proportion. It is even more than you can imagine. More to come. Love and light and blessings from within as expressed without, and so it is.